Welcome to the Raise Your Bars podcast, where it's all about elevating your life one step at a time. With your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan. Together, we're here to guide you through the transformative journey of self-improvement and success. Have you ever wondered what behaviors and actions you need to change to achieve the results and success you desire in life? Well, you're in the right place. Each episode, we dive deep into the strategies, mindset shifts, and practical steps you can take to raise your bars. From personal development to professional growth, Chris and Al share their expertise, experiences, and the occasional tough love, all designed to empower you to reach your full potential. So, whether you're looking to make a big change or simply fine-tune your path to success, grab a seat and let's raise those bars together. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan.
Well, here we are again with another episode of the Raise Your Bars podcast. I'm Al Rattan with my good friend Chris Baker. We had a little bit of a hiatus because I don't think you were traveling and then I was busy and then you had a hurricane.
Yeah.
And so
some of these small things that get in the way, but you know what, we come through it, right? And we are
absolutely.
again, and we're recording. Actually, we're recording on a Saturday morning just to get this week's episode done, and I'm excited to be back. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad to have you back. It's interesting that I actually miss it when we don't do this, right? And it's become a habit for us to do this weekly. So when we miss a week, it kind of throws me off a little bit with my schedule and even my mindset a little bit, because I find that even as we're talking about this, and folks, as you listen, we hope that you feel encouraged and energized by the conversations that we have, because I feel encouraged and energized after we do these sorts of things. And I have to be energized today because my wife's got a long list of stuff I need to get done.
that honey-do list, right?
Honey-do list is ready to go. Anyways, so Chris, welcome back. Glad you made it through the hurricane. Well, sadly, I guess some other areas got hit a lot worse, but now I guess it's time for Florida to recover before the next one hits.
Hopefully that's it for this season, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I will say the infrastructure, the support, and everything in Florida is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You see the speed they recover, and yes, there's a lot of people that lost a lot. Some lost everything.
Yeah.
Some are still without power and internet, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those.
Absolutely.
In general, we recover really quickly, and that's testament to everybody in the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
And all the support areas that come and help. I think I even saw linemen coming down from Canada as well. So
I saw that some guys from Canada were coming. I saw them flying the Canadian flag on their trucks and driving down the highways to restore power. And it's really, you know what, it's really cool to see people pull together
right
in times like this, right? The focus is off of all the negativity that's going on in the world. And yes, this was a negative situation, but you can see everybody pull together and support each other. Right. Communities come together, countries come together to pour support and help to help people recover from this. And that's really inspiring, to be honest.
I think it fits in with the topic that we've been covering recently, right? With the change your paradigm, change your life.
Right.
And it is that change of mindset, because people could get into a selfish sort of attitude of like, hey, it didn't affect me, I'm just carrying on with my life. But they don't, right? They rise above it. And that's nice to see. Right. Absolutely. It is nice to see. And I only hope that we can take that forward and use that in our lives in general and not forget. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And especially with the divisiveness in our cultures today, right? It's we need some people to rise above that noise and just and be positive.
Yeah.
and love, right?
Be the influencers, be the example. And
exactly.
others will follow. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So we're going to wrap up. We've been talking a series on Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life, a book by Bob Proctor. And like I said, we've said this many times in the past on these episodes. If you haven't read it, folks, read it. Go buy yourself a copy and read it, because it's become sort of a study guide for Chris and I. Chris has read it multiple times. I've now through it a couple of times, and we've been spending time talking about it on our podcast. In chapter 9, the final chapter of the book is making your positive paradigm a habit for life. And there's a couple of subtitles within the subsections within this chapter that we're going to just point out today. And the first one, Chris, I want to talk about ignorance versus knowledge. And Bob says there are two paths in life. The first is the path of ignorance. It inevitably leads to worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, depression, and ultimately disease and disintegration. So this path of ignorance, he's claiming, like, and the word that, I mean, like, all of those are negative words, obviously. Worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, depression, disease, and disintegration because of ignorance in people's lives.
Right.
So I want to throw that back to you, and what are your thoughts on this? Because he actually even talks in here, he goes, the educational system is doing very little on this subject.
Yeah.
Nothing against teachers, nothing against the education system personally. It's just we're given a set of curriculum to force feed people for 12 years to help them memorize and regurgitate information, but we're not teaching them really how to think for
Correct.
themselves.
And we've covered this before. It's a favorite topic of mine with the development of our youth, and it's not only in the sort of up to 18 and when they leave high school. It's the same in college, right? I look at
Absolutely.
college students that go through there and come out of there with no clue about how to do a budget or anything, right? How to look after themselves financially, and that's a challenge. And I'll say again, I'll echo what you say. Teachers do an amazing job. All right, they truly do, but they're working within the tools and the framework that they've been given.
Right.
And unfortunately, that is the finite mindset of, as you say, let's teach these students to memorize something so they can pass an exam and get a grade, because that's how we're measured.
Right.
Right. We're not looking at what does their future look like? What jobs do they get? How can we help them find their purpose and go into a career that they love to do, that is going to give them fulfillment and satisfaction? And there is the challenge, right? And I think that part of that is ignorance. And again, not on behalf of the teachers, but on behalf of the system.
Yes.
And society in general. And we also, as parents, what we tend to do is when our children are growing up and they've got these wild creative imaginations, and we go, slow down a little bit, sunshine, let's not get ideas above your station, right? Maybe you can't do that, or if you do that and you fail, people are going to like laugh at you, and maybe you should find something that's a little bit easier to do in a steady job. So we do the same thing, right? As humans, that's human nature. And it's burying your head in the sand. And it's like, gosh, as I'm thinking about all these things are coming to my mind, right? When we're kids and we're hiding and we put our hands over our eyes and go, okay, I can't see you, so you can't see
Can't
me.
see me.
Right.
Exactly. Peekaboo makes a baby laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh.
Right. That's it. That's, as adults, that's what we do effectively. We're ignorant to what's going on around us, and we almost think, hey, if I don't watch the news, if I don't see what's going on, it isn't happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it is. So
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And I think too, even with, I mean, like, I'm not going to go on a news bashing thing here or a right versus left or anything like that. But even the news, do your own research, right?
Mhm.
When you're hearing things, go and do your own research and find out exactly what is going on. And I know it's hard to do these days because obviously there's biases out there,
Yeah.
and there's biases in our own minds. And we choose to believe the things we choose to believe. But again, like we talked about before we dove into the book here, let's rise above the noise and be that influence of change and positivity and love,
Absolutely.
and set ourselves in the right vibration for that versus the negativity, which is going to lead to disintegration.
Yeah.
I don't want disintegration in my life. I want abundance in my life.
Right. Hey, just let's pause for a moment. Just say, Al, if you're listening to the podcast on a podcast platform, make sure you subscribe so you get notifications when we come
Yes,
out.
please do.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, again, click that subscribe button and then the little bell notification, and you'll get notified when we put these videos out. And then please share them with everybody as well. So
Yeah, we would sincerely
yeah,
appreciate that for sure, as we try to grow, well, as we are growing our audience. And
yeah,
it's nice to see that we are getting consistent increase in the amount of listeners on our
yeah.
podcast platform anyways. And YouTube is my fault that I'm been inconsistent with posting videos, so we're going to get those done. But so Chris, next line: the energy of fear expressed within and through the body sets up a vibration known as anxiety.
Yeah.
The anxiety is generally suppressed. The suppression turns into depression. The depression turns into disease, and the disease to disintegration.
Yeah.
Again, we had just touched on that at the beginning, but goes a little bit deeper about
Yeah.
that energy of fear within our body, fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection. All of these things come into play. I'm doing a sales boot camp with a group of people right now, a level 2 of sales boot camp with people right now. We got nine participants in it, and it's incredible to that fear of rejection in the sales industry especially
Oh
is
yeah.
difficult to overcome, which again leads to that vibration as anxiety, which
Yeah.
we suppress the anxiety because we have to force ourselves to do it, but then we experience the depression that comes from that suppression of the anxiety, because maybe we're not getting the results we desire, or we're not or we're on commission, and we the paycheck wasn't that good this month because of last month's poor results, and now it's a struggle to pay the bills, and I have a family to support, and all this
Mhm.
stuff comes in, which then turns into that depression.
It
And if
does.
you
And
don't deal with that, then you get disintegration, and we
yeah,
don't want that.
correct. And this fits in with the law of attraction as well, right? Because all that you're describing is the negative mindset, the negative thoughts. You're putting that out into the universe, to the ether, and therefore you're attracting more of that. Um, and the only way out of it is really to turn that anxiety into excitement, because it's the same emotion. It's just how our brain perceives it.
Right.
Right. So do we see that as a challenge, or do we see that as an opportunity?
Yeah.
All right. Just from a sales perspective, there's a great book called Go for No. And it's a very short read, but it's talking about in the sales environment. I mean, you talk to a salesperson and they'll say, oh, my closing ratio is 1 in 3 or whatever. And reality, it's not, right? Because they're only measuring or they're only comparing the people that they get their names and addresses for, right? Not
Right.
everybody that they see.
Right.
So in reality, it's probably more like 1 in 10. And what that means is that you're going to get 9 no's for every 1 yes.
Yeah.
So what you should be doing as a mindset is going for those no's and checking them off and go, hey, I've had my 9 no's. That means the next one's going to be a yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it may be that you get the yes after 5. It may be you get it after 3.
Right.
Right? It maybe you don't get it till 12 or 13, but suddenly you get 3 or 4 yeses on the go. And
Exactly.
I know from the experience in the car dealership side in England that people will get on a run, and suddenly you're like, when your attitude's right, everybody they speak to buys a car. Right? I
That's
sold
because
10
your
cars in one.
excitement level is up there. Your positivity, you're
Exactly.
encouraging, you're saying the right things, everything's flowing because you've
Yeah.
tuned into that
Right.
frequency of abundance.
And your body language, everything
Yeah.
is right. Okay. So and again, your positivity then comes over to the people that you're dealing with, the customers, the clients, whatever you want to call them, right? And then they sense it and they pick up on it. Yet when you're anxious, you become desperate,
Desperate.
and desperation shows to the customer, and they go, "Oof, I'm not sure I want to deal with this person."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be sales. It could be any business. I mean,
Anything.
ultimately any business is in sales. Right.
Well, absolutely, right? And I'd say
Yeah,
that even desperation has the potential to lead to you cutting corners or sacrificing your values because
100%.
you
Yeah,
are
yeah,
desperate for that next sale.
right.
I think Zig Ziglar or somebody like that said, if they say no, just say next, right? Like,
Right.
no, okay, great. I wish you all the best in life. Next, right? And
Yeah.
and Chris and I wouldn't be doing this anymore if the no's affected us
Right.
negatively, right? We would
I,
have given up long ago.
Al, I teach people that no really just means not yet. All right, not yet. You haven't given me enough information for me to say yes. All right, you haven't triggered my emotional reaction that makes me want to say yes to whatever it is you're asking me.
Right.
Right. And so
Yeah.
it's
That's
just not
good.
yet.
Yeah.
So the the excitement emotion comes in and goes, okay, I understand you saying no. Help me understand, like, what is it about this that is making you say no? All right. What is it that's giving you that doubt, that fear, that concern? Right. And maybe it's me. Maybe I just haven't explained it properly in a way that you can understand the benefits to you of what it
Right.
is we're talking about.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas most people go, oh, all right,
Yeah.
who's next, right? And then but you're doing that. The problem being is you're going into that next interaction with
Really
that
negative.
negative mindset,
Yeah.
expecting that person to also say no,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I
Now,
think
again, this is not
right.
a sales masterclass, but this is
No.
just in general. This is your attitude, right? And I see it with the hurricane. Right? I saw it with the hurricane. There was a lot of nervousness, understandably.
Right.
There was a lot of fear, understandably. But basically, when you look at it, you can't control the weather, right? All you can control is your preparation and how you respond to it. And I was one that would talk to Vicky and saying, and she's like, she's fairly new to Florida. It's the first one that was due to come right
Oh,
over us. And
right.
so she's like preparing everything to the nth degree. And I'm like, that's fine. I'll let her do it
Yeah.
because she needs that fulfillment of saying, or that knowledge of saying, I've done everything I could. But
Right.
then it got to a point. I said, Vicky, you got to stop now. All right.
Hmm.
You've done everything you can do. I think I put it in one of our groups that we'd prepared for the worst, but now we've got to expect the best.
Right.
Right. And as it happened, that shear came from the north and disbanded. And yes, there was still devastation on the coasts, but it could have been a whole
It
lot
could have
worse.
been, yeah, and
Right.
it was supposed to be a whole lot worse than
Right.
it was too,
But we were
right? So,
prepared.
yeah.
But then we had that attitude. And I'll tell you honestly, and people they may say I'm ignorant, but I wasn't physically, I wasn't scared throughout it. Right. I went to bed and I slept. I got up at 4 a.m. and let Vicky go to bed, and I would like watch things because we'd done everything we could.
Right.
Right. And
Well, we'll say
maybe a bit of a tangent, right? But remember that there's a Richard Branson quote where we talk about training, and he talks about people not wanting to spend money on training. And they say, well, why do I want to spend money on training and train them up just so they can leave? And Richard Branson would say, well, what if you don't spend money on training and they stay?
exactly
Right.
what kind of
To me,
damage is
that's
that doing to you
another
long term?
example of are you looking at that training and development personally, professionally, or whatever as excitement, or are you looking at as it anxiety? Right, that hey, I'm going to do this and they're just going to leave anyway. Well, you're probably not going to train them right. You're probably not going to get the right people, and they probably are going to leave because they see your anxiety and negativity. So maybe a little bit a little bit of a tangent, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
just in general, anybody listening, just adopt a positive mental attitude. And I'm not saying be ignorant of what's going on and just live in la la land thinking that everything's sunshine and rainbows, because
No,
folks, it isn't.
fear can
Right.
be beneficial because it keeps us from falling off that cliff, right? So,
Right, as long as you're doing the work. So here, this is
yeah.
where bars comes in, right? You have to show the right behaviors and do the right actions to get the results and success that you're looking for. Right? If you don't do those right behaviors and the right actions, don't be surprised when your results and success are not as high as you wanted, right? Or the right things that you wanted. In other words, if your behaviors and your actions are anxious, your results and success are going to be all of those negative words that Bob Proctor said.
Right.
Right. But if your behaviors and actions are more positive and more intentional, more thought out, the likelihood is that your results and success will be higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So actually that sort of leads us, let's spend 2 minutes on this. So one of the last sections of the book is titled, "What Do You Really Want?" And he goes in here, he says, "The problem with many people is that they don't believe they can have what they want."
Yeah.
And then some other words, and then he says, "We do not have to know how to get it. We only have to know that we will get it."
Yeah.
And again, that's tuning into that frequency of the belief
Mm-hmm.
that not only do we deserve that good thing that we're striving for, Chris and I, we believe we deserve what we're headed for. We've sowed the seeds. We keep showing up. We keep doing the work, right? And we will get what we are. We will achieve the goals that we've set. Okay, we know we will. It's just a matter of time. But for you as well, do you believe that you can have what you really want? And
Yeah.
if you don't, then you need to start believing that. And you don't need to know how to get it yet. The steps will appear as you need
Mm-hmm.
it, right? It's that old Indiana Jones movie with which one was it now? The Last Crusade, where he had to go for the cup of Christ, and he had to walk. He couldn't see the pathway, but it would appear when you when you took the step of faith, right, in that area, and he put his foot out, and it looked like he was going to fall off a cliff, but when he put his
Yeah.
foot down, it was just an optical illusion. You couldn't see the pathway, and all of a sudden it was appeared, right? So again,
Yeah.
that was a great movie, by the way. I love that movie. I should watch it again someday. But we sometimes we need to take that step of faith and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I deserve this. I've put in the work for this," and it's not in a selfish way. It's just we've done the work. It's time to reap the reward. Do you believe that you can get that?
Yeah.
You don't have to know how yet. You just
No.
have to believe that you can.
That was my biggest challenge when I started the personal growth journey, really, in 2017 and into 2018, was that I was really hung up on I needed to know how. Right? I really needed to know how, and that's the C on the C communication style coming out, where I want all the details. Right? I want to
Yep.
check it.
Yep.
I want to plan. I want to make sure that all my ducks are in a row, and then I'll move forward. And it's really only been the last 4 or 5 years probably that I've managed to overcome that mindset. All right. And so, again, there's a common saying, right? Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's similar to what you were just saying with Indiana Jones. You have to see the way forward, then you'll believe that's the path.
Right.
Right. But the mindset that we're talking about is I'll see it when I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that belief comes from within. And that belief is belief and faith in you and what you've done.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's now I think again, we've talked multiple times about understanding, finding your why, finding your purpose, and knowing really what you want. And I think one of the challenges here is that we really need to spend time to go that 7 levels of why deep into what we want to really make sure it is what we want.
Yeah.
And make
Agreed.
sure that we understand the feelings and emotions of why we want that and what it will feel like when we've got that,
Right.
and then really get into those emotions, because that's what will then come out and will drive you forward. Right? Do you really want it, or do you just want to want it?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a
It is.
huge difference in that. So yeah, that really, I guess that's the task for people today, right? Is to really dig into what you want from life, and then start to believe that that is possible. And then when you believe that is possible, then you look back and you say, what are the behaviors and actions that I need to take every single day to drive me towards those results and that level of success that I'm looking for?
Absolutely. Love that. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We sincerely do appreciate that. Please share this with family, friends, coworkers. And if you are a business owner, we've sort of done a little revamp on our program, and we have the five-step profit growth formula. And we would love to talk to you about it. So if you're a business owner, and we had some staggering statistics come out in Canada, and in the month of July or June or July, it was like 44,000 businesses closed. So if you're a business owner, we can help you with our 5-step profit growth formula. And if you are a business owner thinking, man, if something doesn't turn around in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and you're in that desperation mode, reach out to us. Our software that we use will help you find some quick wins to get some cash flow going quickly, fast in your business.
Yeah.
And our goal and our desire would be to help you turn that around, so you can not only provide for yourself and your family, but also your team and their families for many years to come. So again, business owner, reach out to us. We would be happy to help you and take you through our 5-step profit growth formula assessment. Absolutely free. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
Perfect.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Raise Your Bars podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please consider sharing it with your family, friends, and coworkers. We would sincerely appreciate it.